Prince Harry's professional victimhood was on full display again this week as he appeared in London's High Court to support his phone hacking lawsuit against Mirror Group newspapers. In his 25,000-word opening statement, he insisted it is his life's mission to change the British media landscape and that it would be an injustice should the court dismiss his suit. But after being forced to admit in cross-examination that he has no evidence to support his claims, surely he's not going to win this case. Joining me now is Emily Carver, London-based broadcaster and commentator. Emily, tell me how this is progressing. Some of the reports suggest he's struggling, but does he have a chance to prevail here?
Well, it is a civil case, so the burden of proof is lower than it would be if it was a criminal case. He has to prove that on the balance of probability, the Mirror Group newspapers did engage in unlawful activity, did hack his phone, and that this caused him distress at the time. But unfortunately for Harry, his statement and his answers to the questions throughout, he had hours and hours of examination by a barrister. The problem was it was all feelings over fact. As you said there, he had no clear-cut evidence. He thought that he could just rock up and say, I feel this and that happened, I speculate this, I accuse this, and that he would be able to get through to the judge on that regard. But that's not how a case works. And he came woefully unprepared. And I think that does reflect a man who is very, very entitled and also a little bit naive.
Well, it's all about his truth, isn't it? It's not really about the truth, it's what he feels. And he had to answer some hard questions on the stand about his drug use, his visit to strip clubs, his bus stops with former flames. And I'm wondering how Meghan is feeling listening to all this. Also, he seems to be still pining over his one true love, Chelsea Davy, who he blames the press for their breakup. I mean, that's, to me, is quite strange in itself, that he mentions this breakup as a harm that he's suffered, given that he's now, hopefully, with the real love of his life. He mentioned Chelsea Davy's name over 100 times in his opening statement, and Meghan's only a handful of times.
Yes, I mean, I'm no Meghan Markle fan, but I was trying to put myself in her shoes and hearing him say the name Chelsea Davy 118 times, saying that the press was the reason why they broke up, not because they weren't a perfect match, which is what you'd want to hear as the wife and mother of his children. But yes, he kept going on about Chelsea Davy. He will say that this is so that he can then protect his new wife, Meghan Markle. But to me, it just smacks of a man who was obsessed with the past, who thinks that his experience, his truth, is all that matters. And you know, one thing that really, really wound me up and really wound up the nation, I think, was when he not only attacked the free press, but also attacked the government. That is not the role of a member of the royal family. That is dangerous. He is still fit in line to the throne. I think he should stop playing with fire and just realize that if he wants to have this life in California, he is free to do so. But I hope that for his own mental health, he starts to let the past go and live his best life in Montecito as was planned.
Now, moving along from Prince Harry, charity Oxfam has apologised for its hideous cartoon featuring an angry woman with red eyes and a turf badge that looks a lot like Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling. I mean, they were definitely trying to take the mickey out of her. They've admitted that they made a mistake, but they're not admitting that that is J.K. Rowling. They're not fooling anybody here, Emily. Everybody, including JK, knows what they were trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's extraordinary that they'd even bother trying to deny that there is the likeness there. It is obviously J.K. Rowling, whoever drew that cartoon, whoever made it up, wanted to show her as being the queen of the TERFs, the trans-exclusionary radical feminists. And I don't know about you in Australia, if there is an Australian Oxfam branch, I'm sure there is, but this is a highly political charity. They pump out press releases advocating far left proposals for poverty alleviation. They never talk about trade, business, etc., for lifting people out of poverty, and now they're engaging in the culture wars. And I, for one, wish, as someone who would potentially donate to this charity, that they'd keep quiet on this issue, because it just alienates people, and it's actually very thoroughly offensive to many women who are worried about sex-based rights.
Well, that's what I can't understand. Why would a charity who wants to maximise donations enter these contentious political games? Because if you are conservative, even if you're just a centrist, you're probably going to find somewhere else to put your money. Why would you back a boldly radical leftist organisation?
We see this a lot with charities in the UK. So many charities decide to take on highly political campaigns. And I don't know if it's the type of person that goes into charity work. A lot of young graduates go into charity work. They may take it as a chance to be an activist rather than just simply a charity worker. And it's just what's in vogue, isn't it? It's in vogue to call yourself a trans ally and to hate on people like J.K. Rowling. But what they don't understand is that actually their opinion is the niche opinion, and they're banking on the fact that most people won't notice. But I'm sorry, people are starting to notice, and they will put their money into a charity that doesn't spout forth about all these issues, that doesn't come up with super divisive ways of looking at the world. And I think Oxfam should really be quiet, considering their past has been slightly challenging for them too. There have been many scandals in the Oxfam charity, so they should perhaps be a little quieter when it comes to these kind of issues.